All right, before we get into the Baal Shem Tov, I just want to mention a very important thing. Since today is Rosh Chodesh Tammuz, you know that we have 12 months a year, and the Shem Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei, is sort of a, let's call it a simon to the mood, the attitude, or the mazel of the month. So let me give you an example, for instance. What do you think would be the best month for the Jewish people? Which would be the best month out of the year? Which would you pick? The best month?
Chodesh Aviv. Nisan.
Nisan. Anybody else have it?
Adar.
Adar.
Wow.
The best month is Av?
Whoa.
Tisha B'Av is well, Rabbi Yaakov Meir, he hit it on the nose. In the Svarim HaKadoshim, it says Nisan is the best month of the year. And we can see it in the way the letters of the Shem Hashem are written for that month. So you have 4 letters in the Shem Hashem, Yud, Hey, and Vav, Hey. Then you could write them backwards, you could write them straight, Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. You could write the Yud and the Vav, change them, the order. You can switch around, I could play around with them. Many different combinations you could make. So for Chodesh Nisan, the order of the Shem Hashem is Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey, as it normally appears, which is the Shem of Rachamim. It's the best name for us. For Klal Yisrael, it's the best name for the world. And when Hashem is presented to the world in that form, that means everything is going well. Everything is good. And that was the month, of course, that we had Yetzias Mitzrayim and all the Nisim and the Makos and so on and so forth, and Kriyas Yamsuf. All those things, wonderful things happened to Am Yisrael in Chodesh Nisan, and therefore the order of the letters are Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. Now we have a number of months in the year where are things going this way and that way. For instance, let's say Tishrei. Tishrei starts off with a Midas Hadin, Rosh Hashanah, Day of Judgment, and then Yom Kippur, you're fasting. The only fast that we have an entire year, Midoraisa, is Yom Kippur. All the other fasts are all Midrabanan, Tisha B'Av, all the other fasts are also Midrabanan. The only Torah fast that we have is Yom Kippur. Only one. That's part of, it's the end of the Tzeres Yemei Tshuva. That also is in Tishrei. So Tishrei starts off with the Midah of Din. It's a very fierce, very scary time. However, in Tishrei you also have Sukkot. You have Simchas Torah, Shmini Atzeres. That's the Shalosh Regalim. So Tishrei is a month where you have both good and, both ways. So the Shem Hashem would reflect that in the way the order is for Tishrei. The order, it wouldn't be Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. It would be a different order. I don't remember exactly what it was right now. Let's take what would be the worst month of the year. Which would you pick as the worst month of the year? The best month, we said, is Nisan. Which would be the worst month of the year? Which would you say?
Av.
I would also say Av. That's when the 2 Beis HaMikdash were destroyed. First one and the second one in Chodesh Av. So that's the worst thing. But you know something? It's not the worst. Because Tisha B'Av is the first half of the month, but Tu B'Av is already a more pleasant time. So the name of the Shem Hashem switches. So the first part of Chodesh Av starts off with a Hey Vav. You take the Shem Hashem, Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey, in the right order, that's all Simcha, it's all Tov. But if you go backwards, it's all Midas Hadin. So Av starts off with a Hey Vav in the reverse order, not like it appears in the regular shape, Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey, but Hey Vav instead of Vav, Hey. But in the middle, after the first 2 letters, you get the Yud, Hey. The Yud, Hey of the first part of the Shem Hashem for the second half of Av is already good. So Av is a month which is both Midas Hadin, but the second half, Tu B'Av, is already a pleasant time.
Shiva Asar B'Tammuz is the worst.
Well, that was Av. So now we can get to the question. Which is the worst month? Av, we said, which we thought was the worst, is only half bad. But which month is all bad? Which would you say that the Shem Hashem would be totally reversed? As not Yud Hey Vav Hey, but just the opposite. Yud Hey Vav Hey is the Shem of Rachamin, of Chesed from Yisrael. Which is the month which is totally reversed? Hey Vav Hey Yud? No. It should be obvious. It should be no. No, it's this month.
Whoa.
Tammuz.
Shiva Asar Tammuz.
Yeah, but Tisha B'Av was worse. I mean, Shiva Asar Tammuz, the Goyim broke into the city of Yerushalayim. They broke the walls, but they didn't destroy it actually until 3 weeks later. So we'd say that it's the destruction that is the Siman. But since Tu B'Av is a good time, so it switches half and half. But in Tammuz, there's no Tu B'Tammuz. There's no good times in Chodesh Tammuz at all. It's all negative. So we have to be very careful this month, very, very careful this month, to try to do everything we can to be mamtik the din. We have to be careful not to take chances, not to do things which are foolish. On the contrary, to do things we see. I've been saying since this war began, I've been saying the David Hashem Ori V'Yishi that we say in Elul, and through the end till Shema after Shana Rabbah is the David Hashem Ori V'Yishi. We said extra capital of Tillim because it's the Midah of Din, El all the way through. And we're not in the Midah of Din now. We're not in the Midah of Din now. We're more Din now than we are in El and Tishrei. The soldiers are dying. There's Hakara all the time. And not only soldiers, also the civilians. The people are out of their homes. They're not living a normal life, cramped into little rooms, into hotel rooms that the government's paying for them. Their homes are destroyed. We're in a very, very difficult time. We shouldn't take it, say, oh, look outside, everything's fine. Nice weather, it's fun, nothing going on here, everything's very calm. You have to be more worldly. You have to think about our brothers and our sisters all over the country. Not only all over the country, all over the world, the anti-Semitism, which is mamish, progressing and progressing and progressing. I heard recently that a chief rabbi, I'm not sure if it was Paris or France, got up in shul, he made a public statement, he told everybody to leave the country. Paris, because of the rising Muslim population, for everyone to leave. He saw the writing on the wall. All right, so we should understand that this Chodesh Tammuz, you have to do everything we can do to Mamtik the Din. And one of the things you could do is you do it yourself. To add the David Hashem Ori V'Yishi. Not only to say a tefillah for the shvuyim, for the chatufim, the ones who are captured for release, but for the general, Klal Yisrael in general, is not in a good period at all. So we have to do everything we do. In my own house, I blow shofar. And I heard that there are religious groups, I don't know if I have to call them gedudim in the army. The religious one, before they go out to battle, they blow shofar too. What does shofar do? We blow shofar on Rosh Hashanah. Why do we blow shofar on Rosh Hashanah? Just think about the shofar. What do you have? You have a tekiah, and in the middle you have a shvarim truah, and you have a tekiah at the end. The tekiah is a clear, straight blast. The shvarim truah is broken up, and then you have again a smooth one at the end, a last tekiah. What are the difference? What do these things mean? So very simple. A straight, smooth blast is the midah of chesed. The midah of chesed. And the broken ones in the middle are the ones of din. Or that's shvarim. But it's broken. Broken kolot are not smooth kolot. They are indications of din. So what do? We take the smooth tchiyah in the beginning, and the tchiyah at the end is smooth, and we sandwich in the middle, the midah of din, and we crush it. So we take the midah of din, and we sweeten it with the tchiyah. Both at the beginning and the end. This is another thing that we can do, and I think you should tell the people who run the minyan here in the morning, you should blow shofar every single day now. We're in a period of midas hadin, we have to do hamtakas hadin. We have to do everything we can to sweeten it in. There's another example. Let's say David Hashem Ori, let's say Tchiyah Shofar, to daven with more kavanah, to learn extra, anything that we can do that brings simcha to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to the Malachim, whatever it is, to sweeten the din. That's what we have to do, especially during these 2 months. It's the Rosh Chodesh Tammuz, and even in Av also. We have to do everything else. It's very important. We mentioned that because we're talking about kavanas and tefillah. So this is our kavanah. The kavanah should be during this month to do everything possible to sweeten the situation, make everything better and easier for Am Yisrael. Okay. Anybody questions on this now? All right. So we're going back to, I'm handing out the pages again. We were still on this topic of how you have to go about to daven properly. So take page and pass the rest, please. What page? Right. Mm-hmm. No. Hachna'ah, Havdalah, Ramtata. Here, I have more. Here, Rabbi Yaakov. Here's another one.
Just remember how to.
You hold, you keep it by you. Keep it by you. Right. Okay. All right, leave it. All right, so okay, Rabbi say, and then okay, the important, just leave it on the table. It doesn't matter. All right, so we have 3 things we have to remember before we start davening. You can actually think about it not only in Shmona Esrei, even before you start the brachas in the morning. Before you start, the first thing you wake up in the morning, you say Moda Ani. Before you start the first brachas, on the Tilas Yadayim, you want to go for the whole day. I'll tell you what I personally do. I personally do myself. Besides what it says over here, I say that when you say the Shem Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei. We don't pronounce it the way it's written. We're not allowed to pronounce it the way it's written. It's too holy. We have Goyim, well, there you say it with a J, Jehovah Witnesses, so it's not the actually way it's pronounced. That's why I quoted them. Well, we pronounce it with a Yud. You're not allowed to pronounce it with a Yud, so we say Adoni all the time. Ado, Noi. We do that always. But really, we're supposed to be thinking Yud Hey Vav Hey. It's not the way you write the word Ado. No, you write Aleph Dalet Nun Yud. But we have to think that every time we say it. So I say in the morning, I say before I start saying my brachas in the morning, I say Hashem. Every time I say the word Yud Hey Vav Hey, you should know I'm intending right now that it should be the following meaning. Yud Hey Vav Hey is a contraction of Hoya Hove V'yeh. That's what Yud Hey Vav Hey is. You should know. What does it mean, Hoya Hove V'yeh? It means God was always, God is, and always will be. It means the complete existence of reality. God is always. He was, He is, and He will be. That's Yud Hey Vav Hey. And I'm also saying I want it also to mean the word Adni, that He is Adon HaKol. He's master of the world. Not only is He the essence of the world, He's the existence of the world, Hoya, Hove, V'yeh, past, present, and future, but He's also master of the world. Those are the 2 concepts that you have to have every time you say in davening the word Hashem Hashem.
Is before Modani?
I said before the first bracha, before Al Tili Sedai. Before I said
God is multi, and God is master of the world.
Adon HaKol. Adon. That's what Adon Noi means my master.
Chabad. In the morning,
Yeah.
I start in Modani.
Okay.
Then I have to run.
Run where? What does that mean, run? To the Sherutin? To the bathroom? What do you mean, run?
Yes.
All right, good. It's good, fine.
And then I can make it afterward until I time.
That's why when you wake up, as soon as you open up your eyes, you have to say Modani right away, in bed. Say Modani, and thank God that you woke up.
Dila Sedan, I can do it after, not before going to the...
Okay, fine.
Isn't
Fine.
that two different ones, huh?
Excuse me?
But there are those who wake up and wash their
Yeah, if you have the water right by your bed, and if the bathroom is too far away, you should have it near the bed.
No, to me, it's just...
Okay.
The one before the actual act of going to the bathroom, and then your dime is after that. One is to cleanse whatever.
Take off when a person sleeps at night, the neshama is at rest, so to speak. So because the kedusha is less, the tumah comes in and replaces it. So there's a certain kind of a tumah, a ruach of tumah that hovers over the person at night. When he wakes up in the morning, it leaves the center of his body, because in the center of his body are the main energy centers. You have the heart there, and that, because it's kadosh, it has kedusha, it chases away the tumah. But the tumah nevertheless stays on the fringes.
So you,
What if you wake up 2-3 times during the night?
oh,
No, if you try to go, if you have to go out of the bed, so you should wash your hands before you walk around. Yes, you should wash your hands 3 times. Yes, you should do that if you have to walk around. Yeah,
but in the morning,
yeah.
do this wash, then you go to the bathroom.
What's this wash mean? What does that mean?
First one apart.
3 times alternately.
Yeah,
That's by the bed or close to the bed.
but even in the bath.
Even what?
You can do it in the bath.
You could do it in the bathroom. Yeah, all right.
And then you do.
But you should, when you do it in the bathroom, you have to make sure the toilet seat is covered.
Oh, when you wash your hands in the bathroom?
If you wash in the
No,
bathroom,
you can say the bracha.
no, I'm not talking about not the bracha, not the bracha. If you want, see, our bathrooms today are not like they were in the Shulchan Aruch. In the Shulchan Aruch, in the Gemara, it was what we would call an outhouse. And there are people who live in Yerushalayim today, old Yerushalmis, who cannot get used to the idea in the old Yerushalmi homes to have a bathroom inside the house. Have all the tumah inside the house. The house is a Makom Kadosh. How could you have a bathroom inside the house? We have all the excrement and all the urine. How could you have that in the house? In a Jewish home, to have an outhouse inside a Jewish home, they couldn't take it. They can't get used to the idea. They had an outhouse. Right next door, you had an outhouse with a special, cabinet or whatever it was, and there you had the Sherutim outside. Our bathrooms are completely different than what the Shulchan Aruch describes. There was no cleaning. There was a smell. It was a terrible thing. That's something disgusting. You don't want to have that in the house. But our bathrooms today, there's a flusher, and nothing stays there. You clean it. You have a bowl, and you can wash it around and wipe it around, and you can cover the the toilet seat. So once you do that, the bathroom doesn't have the same halacha as an outhouse. It's like a regular room. It's a regular room. So essentially, you could actually even make the bracha in the bathroom, but we don't.
Wow.
We make the bracha al matilas yadayim.
Yeah.
Or asher yotzal.
Yeah.
You really, if you made it in there, you would be yotzei.
Uh-huh.
But it's proper to make it outside the room, not in the bathroom itself. That's the best thing.
There's
Yes.
still 2 washing of the hands. That's what I'm trying to figure. You wash them at the night,
Tumah off.
then you go to the bathroom,
Okay.
and then you do the.
Then you have to wash again after the bathroom. You have to wash again.
Right.
Right. Good. Yeah. Okay.
There is no bracha.
Huh?
First one is no bracha.
Well, you don't make the bracha, but you could make the bracha al matilas yadayim right after you wash in the morning, right by the bed. You could make the bracha al matilas yadayim right there. You could, sure. And before you make the bracha, you should do the little tefillah that I say. Hashem, every time I say the Shem Hashem, it means Hoya over the year and Adon HaKol. Throughout the day. I'm saying it now for the entire day. Because in davening, they daven in shul, they daven so fast, and you can't think of it each time. You should, every time to say the Shem Hashem, you have to have that kavanah, each time. And the Shem Hashem appears hundreds of times during the davening. So, you want to have, it should be the basic minimum, so you say it beforehand, it goes for the entire day.
So again, Yud K Vav K, God is Mobi, and Hashem, and God is the Master of the World, right?
Right.
Those 2 things.
Right. Hoya over the year, ve'adon hakol. That's it. That's the kavanah you should have at the beginning of the day, for the entire day, every time you say the Shem Hashem.
Say that Turkish shop.
It's
What-
part of the Tono London.
Yeah, it's there too. But we're talking about before you start saying brachas in the house. Before you get to shul, you make brachas in the house too. Don't you make any brachas in the house? You have to wash your hand, come out of the bathroom. You don't make a bracha, sheyotzar, in the house. You have to wait till you come to shul. Is there? You're supposed to make the sheyotzar as soon as you finish in the bathroom. Say it outside the bathroom, a sheyotzar. So you say the Shem Hashem there also. So you want to make the Shem Hashem there also should have its proper content, proper meaning. So you have to say that introduction before you start the first bracha in the morning. You say it. I want this Hashem should be for the entire day. Every time I say the Shem Hashem, it means Hoya Hova V'yeh V'Adon HaKol. That's all. And you're covered for the day. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't try to think of it, at least during during Shemona Esrei or Kriyat Shema. You should think of it anyway, not to be Saimach when you said it early in the morning. All right, so that's one example of what we can do at one time to cover for the entire day. Then we learned last week about these three ingredients when it comes to davening. So you have the page in front of you. You see there on top of the page 159, there are three things that you have to have all the time. This also, you should make it before you start the Shemona Esrei. You have to have, it says on top line, Hakno, and the second one is Havdalah, and right afterwards is Havtaka. So what does the Hakna mean? Hakna means Hakna means translated means humility. Be humbling oneself.
So this is before we start Shemona Esrei.
Before you start the Shemona Esrei, this is the mindset that you have to have. What I'm starting the Shemona Esrei with, who am I to address the King of the universe? I'm not more than a speck of dust. Who am I to address the King of the universe? Melech Malchei HaMelachim. So you have to feel humbled. And look what he says to Baal Shem Tov. Hachno ki'ilu hu eino medaber. Rak hashchina. Do you hear that? Isn't that amazing? You know what those words mean? You know what that words mean? You think you're talking. I'm talking to you, and I say to you, Baruch Atah. I'm saying to you, Hashem. I'm saying Baruch Atah, Hashem. I'm praising you, Hashem. Think about it for a minute. How do you get the energy to speak? Who gave you the energy to speak? You created the energy yourself? You have a machine that you grind up in the morning and you inject yourself with energy? And now I can go for the day. I just fill up my battery and go. How does it come? How do you have the ability to talk? Where did it come from? You have to realize that it's not your own. It's the Shekhinah that's inside you. It's an amazing idea. You have to think of, I don't even have the ability to talk to the Shekhinah, if not the Shekhinah being inside me, injecting me with that energy. It's the Shekhinah who's talking. It's not me. I'm not on the level where I can feel it, but I have to know it. I have to know it. And therefore, you have to be so humble that you're standing there and you think you're who knows what you are, but you're a nothing. Because once the Shekhinah extracts its koach from you, you just fall away and you don't exist. The only reason that you exist and you have the ability to talk is because the Shekhinah is giving you that power. So that should be very, very be humbling. You must have that idea in mind. This is Baal Shem Tov is teaching us, how do you address the King of the universe? The entire world, not the world, what the world is, what world? With the earth is the entire world. What about all the galaxies, the thousands and hundreds of thousands of stars, the whole universe, everything? Who are we? We must not even a speck of dust, less than that. And I have the ability to address and talk to the Shekhinah. This is a miracle of miracles. It only could be possible if the Shekhinah is beside me, is supporting me, is injecting me, is infusing me with that energy. So it's as if I'm not really talking. That's how you have to feel before you stand up and you address the King of the universe. That really, it's all coming from him. I happen to be sort of dishing it out. It seems to be coming from me. But the truth is that it's not coming from me.
But this applies also not when you're davening. That's when you're speaking, no?
Of course, it's everything.
This applies also to Goyens.
Yes, Goyim also, but they have it for Koyach of Tumah. We have it for Kedusha. Right. Okay. I want to bring up again what I spoke about a few weeks ago. And I told it over to somebody, a big Talmud Chacham, this past, when was it? I told it over to him on Thursday. He says he appreciated it so much. We spoke about this whole point. The Shekhinah is really everywhere. The Shekhinah is everywhere. What keeps the world going? The Shekhinah is everywhere. It's all over. So what does it mean when you say, I'm coming to the Beis HaKnesses and I'm addressing the Shekhinah? What do you mean? And if I don't, I'm in the Shekhinah. We're all part of it. We're all part of it. So what does it mean now that I have to give this special attention in the Beis HaKnesses? There's the Shekhinah, Omid Lefnei HaShekhinah, Shmoni Esrei. And outside in the street, there's no Shekhinah. Of course there's Shekhinah. In the bathroom, there's no Shekhinah. Of course there's Shekhinah. In the bathroom too. Every place is Shekhinah. The Shekhinah is what keeps the world alive. If you take out the Shekhinah, the world collapses. There's no world. So what does it mean here when I say that I'm standing in front of him? I need Omed Lefnei HaShekhinah. What does that mean? Has nothing to do with where I'm standing or not standing. It's a reality. That's what the existence is a Shekhinah. The answer is the following. And it's such a beautiful answer. And you have to remember it. Let's go back to how Rabbi Shimon, Rashbi, Shimon Bar Yochai, author of the Zohar, he asked a very, very basic question. He asked the question, where is a person? How do you define where a person is?
His mind is.
Well, you know from the previous times. You're right. You can say, well, I'm sitting here, so I'm here. Or I'm standing over there, so I'm there. Not true. Not true. That's all superficial. The true person is where his mind is, where his machshava is. Because your machshava is something ruchani, and that ruchani is attached to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's where you really are, where your mind is, where the neshama is. That's where the machshava is in the neshama. That's where you really are. So when you come into a Beis HaKnesses, or you're standing any place, you have to believe there's no shuls around, and I want to stand Shmona Esrei because I don't want to miss Mincha. So you go over to a corner someplace, and you stand by a wall, and you take out your sit and you're davening Mincha because you don't want to miss it. Over there also, you're Omed Lefnei HaShekhinah. What does it mean, Omed Lefnei HaShekhinah? The answer is, of course the Shekhinah is everywhere, whether you daven or you don't daven, whether you know whether you don't know it. The Shekhinah is everywhere. The world doesn't exist without the Shekhinah. But the Gemara wants us to know where we are. We have to be conscious of where we are. Do I realize that I'm standing in front of the Shekhinah? Rabbi Shimon says, the Zohar says, where are you? Where your mind is. If you know your mind, you now are addressing that Shekhinah, that means you're davening Shmona Esrei with the right mindset. Because that's where you are. With the Shekhinah, it's around all over. It's inside you, it's giving you the power to speak too. But you have to have the conscious machshava that you're standing in front of the Shekhinah. That's what's required. And once you have that and you realize what the Shekhinah is and who you are, then you can have this hachna. This is what the Baal Shem Tov says. It's the first ingredient. Ki'ilu hu eino medaber rak hashchina. Oh, that's the first step. Next step is havdalah. Once you have that, you accomplish something that happens automatically. Havdalah means what? Separation. Just look, we make Havdalah Motzei Shabbos, or Motzei Yontif, to separate the Kodesh and Chol. Think again. If you don't make Havdalah, is the Shabbos continuing? Or does Tzeisu Kochavim comes, stars come out, Shabbos is over. What's the difference? You make Havdalah, you don't make Havdalah. Why do I have to make Havdalah? What does it mean? What do I make Havdalah? Why do I make Havdalah for? Doesn't it happen by itself? When nightfall comes, the Shabbos is over. Friday afternoon, the Shabbos comes in, and it comes in. Whether I make Kiddush or I don't make Kiddush, What's going on? It's the same thing. Just as we said, Hashem wants you to have the conscious mind that you're standing in front of the Shekhinah. Therefore, you have to have that humility and realize when it comes to Shabbos also, Hashem wants you to consciously be aware that there is a difference between Kodesh and Chol, between Shabbos and a regular weekday. He wants you to make a statement. So your mind is there. So you're now addressing it. You're part of that difference. So you have the Havdalah. So he says, Baal Shem Tov, if you have this awareness, you're standing in front of the Shekhinah, and your mind is there, all the tumah in the world, the worldliness, the mundaneness will separate from you. It's Havdalah. It'll happen automatically. That separates from you. You won't have to bother with it. It'll just go away from you. It won't disturb you. That's what you accomplish when you have, but you have, the first step is the hakna. The first step is the humility. Now you have the third step, the last step, hamtaka, lahalosan, lahamtikon, bisharshan. Now you can take everything that's down here and you wanted to elevate it. Maybe he's talking about those klipot also that separated from you. They also can be metukan. They also can be corrected. They also can be elevated and changed from the tumah, from the klipot to the kedusha. The hamtaka means lahalosan, lahamtikon b'sharsham. How do you do that? You raise them up to where they came from, and you sweeten them back up there in their roots. Up in Shemayim, everything over there is sweet. Everything over there is pure. There's no dinim up there. Everything over there is hamtaka. Okay, I'm going to tell you something else now, which could be very helpful to you, and be very helpful to everybody. It's a mitzvah rabbah to be mefarsim it. We have people, unfortunately, who are not well. People get sick. Some people get very sick and they have to be hospitalized. Some people are a little bit sick. They could be home until it passes over. The Gemara says in Masechet Nedarim that when a person gets well, it's a siman min hashamayim, they were marchel his averos. Isn't that amazing? Have you ever been sick in your life and you got better? You recovered? You should know, according to Armand Omer in the Gemara, min hashamayim, they were marchel your averos. You say, but I didn't do tshuva. I didn't do tshuva. Why should they do my averos? I just was sick and I got better when I took my antibiotics and whatever I had to take. And I'm better and I'm getting around again. It's a mistake. It's a mistake. Why, you have to ask yourself the question, why did he get sick to begin with? Why does a person get sick to begin with? So you say, well, I contracted it. Somebody coughed and I was standing right next to him and he had a germ and it came into me. I breathed it in and I got sick because that guy caught it from him. It's contagious. He had a virus, he had whatever he had, and I caught it. Or I went to some place where there were a lot of people were sick, and I caught it, and breathed it in, it's in the air. Huh? Of course. That's Galina, I'd say. No, all right. Says the Rabbi Ami, and the Gemara says it's all a mistake. It's all very, very, scientific and medical. That's the way you look at it on the surface. If you were strong inside, if your immune system was really strong, people have cough all around you, and it wouldn't make a difference. It wouldn't make a difference at all. Why do you get sick? Because your neshama is weakened, because you did a virus. That weakens your immune system. When your immune system is in the low, and then people cough, then you're going to get it. So how do we cure? We don't cure by just going to the doctor and he gives a cure. We have to go to the doctor. We have to make our shtadlus. Go see a professional, this kind of doctor, that kind of doctor, to tell you what to do. Fine. But you think the doctor is giving you the cure? Not at all. Not at all. Before you get well, Hashem takes away those averos that you had, and he's marchel the avera. Then your body has the ability to recover and become stronger, and then you'll get well. That's what Rabbi Ami says in the Gemara in the Dorim. Ein adam kam b'cholyov at shemarchel lo kol avaynosav. That's what he holds, and it makes a lot of sense. because we know the truth of what makes a person function is his neshama. The neshama can have heights, it can have lows. When does it get low? When there are sins that a person does that weakens the neshama, and therefore the goof is also weakened, and then a person can contract things. So he asked me a question, what happens if a person gets sick? So according to what we just learned right now, so a person should do tshuva. He should do tshuva. You have to think of what he could possibly have done wrong. And let me give you an example of things that people do wrong on a daily basis. On a daily basis. Now the body can be strong and it can last. You do an Aveira one time, do it a second time, but if you do it after 30, 40 times, then it builds up and you become sick. Now what an example of this is, it's very unfortunate, but this is a truism. And I'm not trying to be mekatreg here. I'm trying to find faults. I'm trying to help Am Yisrael. And if you have a mitzvah rabbah, every shul should have a sign outside the door of the shul, or right inside the door, Ein midabrin sichas chulin bebeis hakneses. In a house of worship, a holy place, where your direction and focus should be only God and what He wants. The Aron HaKodesh is here, Sefri Torah here, Divrei Torah, Gemara, Tefillah, anything to do with service to God, that's the place to do it, inside the basic Knesset. You want to sit down and learn the Daf Yomi? Learn. It's Torah. That's what Hashem wants. That's all Kedusha, fine. But when you see your friend in the shul, how are you? I haven't seen you for a while. That's an example of Sichas Chulin. That's mundane, worldly talk. You have to be nice to your friend. Of course, ask him the question, but outside the shul. Not to bring up a conversation and talk further. Oh, I've been here, I've been doing this. That's all considered to be Sichas Chulin. It is something which is accepted. It's accepted. It's a very, very big problem. It's a very big problem. It's a mitzvah rabbah. Mitzvah rabbah to make people aware that a shul is supposed to be only dedicated to the service of Hashem. Anything that has to do with mitzvahs, that's the place to do it. But anything which is other than mitzvahs, even though you're not saying lashon hara, you're not talking profane language, you're not talking about things which are us to talk about. You're talking about daily common things. Sichas Chulin. You're very fine and friendly and kind to your neighbor. How are you? No. That's all outside the shul, not inside the shul. That's number one. Yes, Kano.
So this idea of illness, you're saying it is a breakdown, so to speak.
It's an indication that your neshama is weak. And if
apply to the very holiest of people too.
In some way, you have to say that. Yes, no one's perfect. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. We all have things that, may be very minor. For the average person, let's say you have a big tzaddik. So the average person will look at this tzaddik, and he's such a tzaddik. How could he have gotten sick? Such a tzaddik. That's it. You have to understand, Hashem judges the tzaddik differently than He judges you. There's a different standard of values for the tzaddik. Somebody asked me this question just 2 weeks ago. They asked me, how come tzaddikim, Hashem doesn't give them special treatment because they're tzaddikim. Hashem should treat them differently. They shouldn't get sick. Because that's not right. You don't understand the way Hashem works. If you're a minister and you're in the king's private, let's call it his advisory committee, only 3 or 4 people and you and the king have a special, let's call it, relationship with the king, and you have the average person in the street. Are you and the person in the street expected to have the same form of behavior or not? Are you expected to act differently than the person in the street? Of course you are, because you're a minister. You have to act differently. You're close to the king. You can't act the way a person on the street acts. If you act like his act, you are despising the king. You're showing him that your connection to him, your closeness, doesn't mean anything. The higher and the closer you get to the king, the more of a tzaddik you are, the more he expects of you. And because he expects more of you, the slightest error can bring an onish to the tzaddik. The slightest error. The average man on the main street will make that slight error. Yeah, nothing happens to him. Because Hashem doesn't expect him to be perfect. But you, the tzaddik, you're so close to the king, you know better. You should be born from better on a higher level than that person. And therefore, you're going to be penalized when he won't be. Very important to remember that. Very important. Everybody gets a different evaluation. The bigger the tzaddik, the greater the evaluation. Look what happened with Parshas Chukas. We're coming Parshas Chukas now. Hashem says to Moshe Rabbeinu, speak to the rock. Daber Olasela. They need water. Everyone's coming and ganging up on me. They need water. There are millions of people out here. There's no water in the desert. Hashem says, oh, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. Just take the rock and speak to the rock. So you think Moshe Rabbeinu didn't listen? Of course he listened. There's a whole question, Rashi there, which rock did he speak to? But afterwards he saw maybe Hashem meant, why did Hashem tell me? Take a look at the Lashon. The Gemara, it says, in the Chumash, it says, Kaches hamate, v'dibartem el hasela. Hashem told me, take my rod and speak to the stone. So he took the rod and he spoke to the stone, but nothing happened. So then Moshe Rabbeinu says to himself, why did Hashem tell me to take the rod? Maybe you have to have a different language for a stone. Stone you don't speak to. You have to speak to a stone in the language that the stone understands. Bang! That's what a stone understands. So he hit the rock. Meaning well. Meaning well. What happened? Hashem says, you're going to lose the schus to go into Eretz Yisrael. Can you imagine that? Moshe and Aaron, they lost the schus to go into Eretz Yisrael after what they went through in their lives, 40 years in the Midbar. They're not going to go into Eretz Yisrael because they spoke to they hit the rock.
And all the good.
Well, what did he do? He killed somebody. He was ready to fight the Zara. What did he do? He was an adulterer. He spoke to the rock this way. That's also speaking to the rock. I tell you something, don't make pirushim. No pirushim. I told you, daber, speak. Doesn't work, speak again.
He was a little bit misleaded.
Okay, whatever you can explain. But this is, that's what I just want to show you, that everybody has a different value system that is applied to them. Every person is judged differently. You cannot compare people. The smallest thing for a big tzaddik is a big thing by Hashem, because he's a tzaddik. So Hashem expected, but so that's the point. That's the point. All right. So what I was talking about this sickness. Now I'm going to tell you something that could be very, very helpful to you. We just learned in the Gemara. We just said that when a person gets well, it's a siman that they will mochel him his averus. Mochel avonosov. So what happens? Hashem sends you down from Shamayim, where up there is no sickness. There's no din. Everything over there is ahava, is rachamim, is shalom, up all the way up there. So you have to bring down that koach, energy, from all the way up to the sick person to make him well. So how can we do the same thing? Well, first of all, we always said we have to do tshuva. Do tshuva that brings us closer to Hashem. Fine. What? But there's something else we could do, and everybody can use it. And please tell other people to do it also. Maybe not everybody is worthy of doing such a thing, or is on the level, who understands it, will accept it. But this is a very important thing. We have a Shem, Moshe, Mem, Shin, Hey. We have a Shem. You could change around the letters. Mem, Hey, Shin. The idea is you have these three letters. Now these three letters have a koach of refuah. Have a koach of refuah. How do we have this koach of refuah? If we take the letters themselves, the mem, the hey, and the shin, and we expand them and spell them out as we pronounce them. So a mem is spelt mem, two mems. The first mem starts off the word, and it ends off with a final mem. So a mem is two mems. 80. Then you have a hey. A hey, if you expand the hey, It's two letters at least. Hey and Aleph. Hey, Aleph. That's a hey. Then you have the Shin. How would you expand the Shin? How would you spell Shin expanded? Shin, Yud, Nun. Shin. The letter itself is one letter, but if you write it out, expand it, and spell it out, it would be Shin, Yud, Nun. Let's take all of these letters now and add them up. It's not so difficult. Let's start from the end. Shin, Yud, Nun.
360.
That's in 360. Shin is 300, Yud is 10, Nun is 50, 360. Let's take now the first word. The first word is 80. It's two mems. 360 and 80 is how much? 420, right? 360 and 80 is 420. Is that correct?
No.
No?
40. Oh, yes. 20, yes.
6 and 8, 40. Yeah, 440. And then you have the Hey Aleph, 6. It's 446, right? 146. Let's take the word ha'emet, the truth. How much is the gematria ha'emet? Hey Aleph Mem Tov. Mem Tov is how much? Tov is 400, right? Mem is 40, and then you have Hey Aleph, 446. So the Mem Hey Shin, if you expand it, it comes out to the same gematria as the word ha'emet. What is the ha'emet? What is the only real truth? Hashem himself. You bring down and up there that Hashem, that koach of ava, that koach of perfectionism, of the most beautiful thing that you can imagine, you bring that down over the person, and that brings the refuah. The person is now in a position where he's not with the emet. He has a veros, he has gone into the tumah. You want to overcome that. You want to be Sweetening the Din. So if you think of that, be mispalel, that the mem hey shin should come down on top of the person, this can sweeten the din and bring the refuah much faster. I don't say it's going to work all the time, but this is a koach that we learn from the Svarim HaKadoshim, that the shame mem hey shin expanded, mem hey aleph and shin yud nun comes out to the same gematria as the word ha'emet. And ha'emet that's where Hashem is. That brings the refuah. That's all part of what we learn right now, the hamtaka.
What is the connection between emet and the refuah?
Because refuah is a symbol of not being the emet, away from the emet, with all the klipot, with the sheker. That's where the sikhna is. You want to bring the emet to that, to overcome it. Okay. All right, let's do a little bit in our sefer in front of you. Take a look at the page you have. This is connected to what we're just going to learn right now. There's a pasuk in Tillim, in Kuf Mem Daled, Alufeinu Mesubalin. You know what the word Alufeinu means? Aluf means our generals. But David HaMelech was not talking about generals. He was talking about our tzaddikim. They are the generals. Alufeinu Mesubalin. They are suffering. Our tzaddikim in the generation are suffering, David HaMelech is saying. Says the Baal Shem Tov, Kishiyodei Adam she'alufo shel olam hu b'kol tnuah she'ba'olam. When a person is conscious that the general of the world is involved in every movement of the world. You hear that? Hashem, the Shekhinah, as we spoke before, is involved in everything. And he has to have that in his conscious mind. Oz yochol lisbol hakol. Ve'ein peretz ve'ein yotzeis. There's something, nothing goes out, nothing breaks. Once you have that in the conscious mind, you have that hachna. You realize that everything is a Shekhinah, even the words that come out of your mouth is a Shekhinah. Hashem is involved in everything. Once you realize that, then you can take anything. You can take anything. Hashem is living with me through the situation that I'm in right now. The suffering that I'm going through right now, It's not only me. You have to realize the Shekhinah is living through it together with me. And therefore, our tefillas should be not for ourselves. Not for ourselves. Because just like the Shekhinah, the Aluf HaOlam, is going through it with me, he's going through it with my neighbor and my friend and my next neighbor and the next people all over the world. The Shekhinah is going through all the unpleasant situations that we're in. All the people down south, all the people up north, all over the world, where people are being attacked. The Shekhinah is going through everything with everybody. Alufeinu mesubalim, our generals, our not only Hashem, but also the tzaddikim. But here he means all to say, Aluf Olam. Hashem experiences everyone's tzar. And therefore, I'm not alone. It's very difficult to bear pain when you're alone. Very difficult. It's always good to have a good friend to help you bear the pain. Or to have a family to help you bear the pain. It makes it easier. But if you're on a high level, you don't need the family, you don't need your friends. Hashem is with you. Hashem, He's bearing the pain with you together. And then when you know that, and you're comforted, Yochol Lisbol HaKol. Because ain't paradela can happen that can bother you. L'chein shamati achar kach mimori. Ki biyediya adam sh'Hashem yizbarach malei kol ha'aretz kavodo. When a person has the conscious awareness that Hashem fills up the entire world, malei kol ha'aretz kavodo, v'chol tnua o machshava ha'kol mimeni yizbarach. Af im yale hepech b'kama dvarim mimashmos ha'perush al tefillah. Even though that may come out to be contrary to what the words seem to say in the davening, mikol makom biyadiyazu yispardu kol poalei oven. With that awareness, but that consciousness, you make a separation from all the perpetrators of evil to separate from you. You have broken through the mechitza. You're broken through the mechitza is they're trying to blacken your mind. They're trying to make you sad. They're trying to make you depressed. And you say, you can't do that to me because I'm together with Hashem. Hashem is living through this together with me. There's no difference at all. He knows exactly what I'm going through. Then you have conquered them. All the evil spirits just vanish when you have that conscious awareness that Hashem is living with you every second. There's no such thing as a person suffering and Hashem not suffering with it. It's mamish, part and parcel. It's the same thing. Once you have that awareness, nothing can harm you. Nothing bothers you.
What about physical suffering?
Well, of course, I'm talking about every suffering. Physical suffering too. Vadai. Vadai, what's the shiloh? I mean, no shiloh. But if you have the das, if you have that awareness, the physical suffering becomes so much easier. So much easier. When you realize it's not only you. You realize Hashem, it hurts you here in your hand. It hurts Hashem's hand also.
Oh, this is what I wanted to ask, because I have learned and listened to Shurun this week. We are suffering because God is suffering with us. And we are suffering because He is suffering.
We should feel that also. We should feel His suffering too. Yes.
In this case, what the Naftali Rechaviah, who comes first?
That's something else. That's something else. Hashem, that's something else. You hear what Rabbi Yaakov Meir is asking. How do you, ask your question better. Ask it again. What do you mean to ask? Let me hear exactly what you want to ask.
I heard when we are suffering, we shouldn't suffer for ourselves, but we should suffer because God is suffering with us and He is suffering. So I'm asking that we come before Him according to the dictum, the Naftali Rechaviah means you must love Him, but you come first.
Well, you hear what he's asking? Because it says, if you're saying Hashem is your friend, you say the Re'ach is Hashem. Is that what you mean to say?
Yes, okay.
That's otherwise, what's the question?
Yeah.
So he said, if Hashem is your friend, so if you have to love Hashem as you would love yourself, so you come first. So The answer is, it's only an ability for you to make yourself feel it. That's all. The truth of the matter is that Hashem is the collective sufferer of all the suffering in the world. So your personal suffering is only a drop in the ocean compared to his suffering. But the ikab shot is the interpersonal ben el mechaveru. That's the ikab shot. Recha is al pi Jewish. It could be also me Hashem too. That's a Jewish. And pshat, it means recha means you're another human being. Recha, another Jew. Recha, because you want to know how should I express my love to somebody else. So think, what would you do if you were in his position? How would you treat that person? How would you treat that person if it was you? The way you would treat yourself, that's why you have to treat him. That's what the person means. That's why you have to think first as yourself. That gives you an ability to see the other person in the right light. I want to just tell you, you just bring up, this is such a beautiful thing I have to tell you right now. It's absolutely amazing. What was the question? The question was, there was a big Rebbe. Who was it? Who was it? It could be, it was Rabbi Elimelech Milizhensk. It could be. I'm not sure. Maybe it was him, but it was not him. When I heard this story, I was really, I tell you, this is Emes. This is Emes the Tzaddik. Emes the Tzaddik. But Elimelech Milizhensk was such a tzaddik, people did not leave him alone for a minute. After davening, they were standing on line to get a bracha from him. Before he left the base Midrash, standing on line. On the way out of the base Midrash, standing. When he wanted to go into his house, standing by his house. He didn't have time for himself at all. He's davening and learning. Right after he finished, is a lineup to get a bracha. What happened one time? He was exhausted at the end of the day. He had davened and he was learning. He had to have some manucha. He had to lie down. So he finally, Baruch Hashem, the door closed, and he went to lie down in bed. And after a couple of minutes, he's exhausted. He's trying to fall asleep. A knock on the door. He said, I can't. I don't have the koyach. I can't. But the knock is persisting, going on. So somebody went over to the door. A man coming here, Rabbi, the Rebbe, his wife has to give birth, and there's a shaila here, or his daughter has to give birth. He needs a bracha from you. The birth should go well. There should be no sakana. He needs a bracha. So he was hesitating for a moment, hesitating. Should I do it? Let him come back tomorrow. What? So finally, he said, okay, I'll give him the bracha. He gave him the bracha. After that happened, Rabbi Elimelech Milizhensk stopped putting on Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin. You hear? Hasidim were very makbid to wear 2 pairs of tefillin. The Svardim, they wear two pairs of tefillin at the same time. But the Hasidim wear one after the other. And after that Maisa happened, with that man's daughter who had to give birth, he stopped putting on Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin. So they asked him, Rebbe, why did you stop putting on Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin? It's a halach in Shulchan Aruch to wear Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin also. He said, you know what it says in Shulchan Aruch? He says, Shulchan Aruch says, who should put on Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin? Someone who is a chassid. A real chassid, he should put on Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin. So I said to myself, after that Maisa happened with that man who came to the door when I was in bed, what would I have done if it was my daughter? Would I have had the sveikus? Would I have had, should I not? What would I have said if it was my daughter? And if I had that question in my mind, I'm not a chassid. I don't deserve to put on Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin. I heard that. I said, wow. Oh, boy. Amazing. I couldn't get over it. This is our great Hasidim. This is Alufeinim. These are our great people. These are the ones who are suffering for us. We have to be so grateful that we have such great people in Am Yisrael, our leaders. I'll leave you with that, Rabbi Say. Till next week. Mitzvah Hashem.
Thank you.